Hello, everybody. We will be waiting for another 2 minutes and then we will be starting with all our sessions. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to virtual interactive session on addressing all the aspects of product development process with digitalization technologies, organized by Publish Industry India in association with Siemens Software. My name is Anvita Pillai, and I am the sub-editor and correspondent at Publish Industry India, and I shall be your host for today. While our last three events deliberated on product development, complexities of product development, and addressing the challenges and managing competition using digitalization, today we shall discuss how organizations can address all aspects of product development process with digitalization technologies. By now, all of us are familiar that digital transformation means integrating digital technologies into business to reshape organizations that reorients around customer experience, business value, and constant changes. And it is much more and it is much more than just a change in IT technologies, hardware, software, or digital platform. Presently, in a time where disruptions are rampant, it is important that to learn and to know how digital technologies can not just be restrained to the idea of product development, but ingrains itself into the process of product planning, development, launch, and maintenance and support. Our today's lineup of speakers will mull over how organizations can shape their future with complete portfolio of product development tools, mechanical and electrical design, simulation manufacturing, technical publication, data management, and more, combining the speed and simplicity of direct modeling with flexibility and control of parametric design made possible with synchronous technology. To give a brief for the agenda for today, we will be beginning with a guest address by Dr. Harish Pant, who's the Managing Director at Advanced Technologies. This would be followed by an interactive presentation session with Mr. Nitin Malwadkar, the Country Technical Manager, Mainstream Engineering, Siemens Industry Software. And finally, a panel discussion with customer success stories moderated by Mr. Shekhar Jitkar, who is the Chief Editor at Published Industry India, with panelists Mr. Rajinder Singh, the Deputy GM Engineering, Hexacom Power Solutions, Mr. Pramod Kalyani, the CEO of Carlson Engineering, and Mr. Nitin Malwadkar. Before we begin for today, a couple of instructions for our speakers and audience. I would request the speakers to keep their mic and video on mute until their names have been announced, and kindly use your earphones to ensure audio clarity during session. We would be taking questions from the audience at the very end of the session. And I would request the audience to type out any questions they have for our speakers in the Q&A box located at the bottom of the screen. Please refrain from writing questions at the chat in the chat sections as we might miss out on them. So kindly type the questions out in the Q&A box, which is right adjacent to the chat box. Also, during the panel discussion, if your questions are directed to any particular speaker, I would request you to mention their name along with the question. Now, to begin with our first session for today, I would like to invite Dr. Harish Pant, the Managing Director of Advanced Technologies, for his guest address. Over to you, Dr. Pant.
Hi, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be, talking in such a fantastic topic, which is very much relevant in today's scenario. So I would like to thank Mr. Shekhar and EM team for inviting me for this keynote address. I have been following Siemens. In fact, I have been including Siemens digital twins in my various technology talks in the past 2 3 years. I see a great talent who are very much in depth in technology. They will be discussing. So my focus will be the macro points, and I would like to share a few slides through which I will be sharing some of those macro points which are going to affect the technology aspects of our manufacturing. So as we know that digital transformation is $1 trillion opportunity. If we take the digital transformation which is taking shape worldwide, people say that in the next couple of years, it is going to throw up $1 trillion opportunity. Even if we see in India, the kind of movement which we see in manufacturing itself, that offers $1 trillion opportunity. Government is lining up $1 trillion investment in various infrastructure and manufacturing. And so even if we talk about India in specific, then also we can say that it's $1 trillion opportunity. We know that Make in India and the Atmanirbhar, these are the two programs which are being led by Prime Minister of India. And here the view is that 25% of the GDP must come from manufacturing sector. So if we see the aspiration of achieving $5 trillion economy by 2025, and by that yardstick, we can say that GDP contribution of manufacturing itself will be $1 trillion plus. So with this note, I move next. Evolving horizon. If you see the in the digital transformation, the T, the horizontal line and the vertical line, if you see the horizon, which we see in this, we see that from the make and sell, we move to service, then we move to technology, then platform and network system, e-commerce and all came in. Now, even when the geo has come, now suddenly e-commerce people are finding that they have missed out not owning a telecommunication company. So now suddenly e-commerce people, have come to realize that they are actually into the ecosystem rather than e-commerce. So, and we are also seeing that first time in the world, there are companies which are $2 trillion plus valuation. Apple happens to be the one among many other which are going to follow suit. And what is surprising is that valuation of top 100 companies has increased from 400 billion to minimum was the $8 billion just in COVID 3 months period. So what it means that manufacturing as a sector has to understand that the with the advent of $2 trillion valuation company, unless or until they change very fast, the scope and dimension of changes will be so huge that they might be worrying about a few $1 million of investment wherever a technology will come, and it will simply expand its horizon, including the manufacturing. So this kind of a sweeping change I foresee happening. This is a vertical aspect of the T. I talked about the horizontal of T and now the vertical connectivity of the T. We are seeing that the SpaceLink has got approval from US government to launch 30,000 plus satellites. And similarly, Amazon has got approval to launch some 6,800 satellites. So all in all, we are going to see within coming 5 years, some 40,000 satellites by US companies only orbiting the Earth. And so we are going to see nodes to nodes kind of a connectivity, nodes in the Earth and nodes in the space. So when I was talking about, a theme for today's discussion, so I said, okay, I'll be discussing from top floor to shop floor, but it looks like that now we'll be talking about space floor and shop floor connectivity. And with the kind of various hardware software changes happening, I foresee that most of the servers would be somewhere in the space rather than in the earth. And machine making machine, now all the operations manufacturing aspects is becoming machine making machine. That kind of a precision is being driven, and the product are getting connected straight to the space. So with this kind of a changes happening, it is very, very important that the product development and process development goes into a very top gear of digital transformation. Unless or until it all the present players, they recognize the kind of a sweeping changes which are going to happen not in the next decades or so, but in coming 3-4 years, the whole world of connectivity is going to be very, very disruptive. By one DBS report, it says that IoT devices are going to change from 11 billion today to 125 billion by 2030. And this was the data pre-COVID. And I'm sure that post-COVID, the kind of a leap is happening in digital. This figure will multiply manifold. I say that the value, the value creation in the shop floor, the way it was happening, the way we used to run our operations and processes, various business processes, that has gone for a massive change. Now with the digital, it is possible that click by click, you can slice the business from one end to the last. And what does it mean? That you can slash it, you can create the kind of a soup you want to create, and you can integrate in unimaginable way. So it's a race against time sort of, and here the creativity plays a very, very big role. Innovation plays a very, very big role. The players which are able to understand that the slicing and dicing of which digital facilitates, it was never possible before. So with this, it is very, very important that we understand the kind of a quantum computing like it is coming. Photon is coming in terms of making our data secure and safe. And AI implementation itself, machine learning, all these things are game changers. Blockchain technology, that is a game changer. So in one item, which I have mentioned in this slide, that itself is a game changer. Combine all these things, they are certainly very disruptive and very, very progressive for human society. It is very essential that all the manufacturing companies who do not have, they should have a value lab where we are talking about not the lead time, minimize lead time, shorten the lead time, create more value. Those things are past. Now it's a matter of leading time, means before your customer expects, through your deep data analysis, you capture the data, you analyze it, and you be ahead in the game. And how we can do it? Be very innovative and imbibing the latest technology day in, day out. Smart manufacturing, again, people say that automate 4D. Whatever is dangerous, dirty, duplicate, and delicate has to be relegated to automation. And this is happening. Even the most sophisticated, even the space shuttles are autonomous, trains are being driven autonomous, submarines are going to be driven autonomous. So it is very essential that manufacturing also get into the autonomous mode. And then there is a factor in which I have coined the word, which means that we need to be flexible, adaptive, connected. So there are a whole lot of points which need to be considered for one to have a very effective, collaborative kind of a manufacturing setup. Again, it is possible when our product development and processes are digitized and they are very much integrated in the manufacturing domain. I did a quick survey just 2 days back, and one question came to my mind, that why not to take a survey and ask people, why do the Indian companies lack in design and development of world-class products, whereas Indians working in MNCs do in India and abroad? So this was read by thousands of people in LinkedIn, and the outcome was is not out of the way, which even I was expecting. Absence of culture to innovate and low risk and low invest mindset. These two combined, they are about 73%, and other factors are low budget allocation and capability and process no priority. So we see that in India, we need to change our culture to be very innovative. And this low risk and low investment funda, that is not going to work in a high change, game changing scenario. So let us be ready for the future. So we have to create a future mindset. And otherwise, that future we will get set in, and it will be very difficult to compete in the international market. From one of the BCG survey, what kind of innovation type various industries can do, the new product, new services, go to market, internal processes, business model. So you can see that a whole lot of innovations are possible, and each of these innovations are integrated. Actually, when you develop innovation in a new product, that has to get integrated with the new services, marketing, internal processes, business model, and all. So they are all, interrelated. So if a company has to be in the threshold of, world market and want to be leader, then innovation has to be built multifold throughout the organization. So few actions points which came to my mind, I would like to share. It is very essential to move up, down, and sideways in value chain. Even if you see, take an example of mobility. In the mobility, if you are just making a IC engine vehicles, that is not going to fetch you future market share. Now there is a whole lot of disruption happening in automotive, wherein e-vehicles are coming, autonomous vehicles are coming, shared this thing is coming. So even for mobility, where people have been successful hundreds of years, they need to up their game and become relevant for the future. So they have to move very fast, up, down, sideways. So whatever you're doing, you have to look into your whole value chain and pivot your business, repivot your business. And that is possible only when you will build, digital transformation in your organization. Second thing is to build competitive advantages. Digitization, automation, innovation, all these things are very, very important to build up competitive advantages. Just by low cost labor, somehow making it low cost, that is not going to work any longer. Collaborate for comparative advantages. Here it is very important. If you see the number of companies which are having a turnover of 10 crores plus, there are some 20,000 companies only in India. So with this kind of a MSME, kind of a very small size of operations, it is very difficult to compete in the world market. So it is very essential that the right players should come together, join hand, so that they create a comparative advantages vis-a-vis other players in the market. So as you build the competitive advantages, you have to build the comparative advantages as well. And three, four areas which comes to my mind is auto parts, because of this ongoing global issue with the China supply. A lot of global customers want to have an alternate supply base, and India fits in very well in terms of size, scope, and the talent pool available. So auto parts looks to be a very right sector to focus on. Electronics is the another domain. Third is the industrial machineries, which will go mainly for food processing, agrochemicals, textiles, and all. So these three are the areas, particularly in manufacturing, which might be of immediate interest. Key takeaway, in the left side, if you see the karma twins, and I call the digital twins, both have to marry for us to remain relevant and be ready for $1 trillion opportunities. And when I talk about karma twins, means the value creation happening and the capability, both have to go hand in hand. At times what happens, manufacturing people get so focused in value creation that they forget about the capabilities part of it. And here the top leadership has to make sure that there is a leadership, accountability and drive towards developing capabilities for the entire organization, not the individual, but the entire organization. And that, future capabilities pipeline for the coming 5 to 10 years. So this will set the karma twins, and then the digital twins, in terms of everything is getting digital, not just because for the heck of it people want to do it, but the time available for bringing about the speed change, that is squeezing by day. And unless or until you have a digital avatar of your business processes, product development, and many other processes in your business, you will not be able to cop up with this. So this is a key takeaway from me, that be relevant and be future ready. And I'm very sure that with the kind of government policies, the kind of a leadership which is coming forward to take up the challenges, I'm sure by 2025 or 1 or 2 year plus and minus, India will be developing its GDP to $5 trillion economy. And the people who are in new product development, new processes development, they will have a great career ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pant, for that really informative session. I would now ask Mr. Chitkar to take over and ask any questions which have come for Dr. Pant. Mr. Chitkar, over to you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Pant. It was really interesting and insightful presentation from you. And you touched upon the many aspects which are quite apt in today's situation. And it was very practical and kind of eye-opener for every industrialist or every manufacturer today in India. I'm sure with this kind of mindset, we'll definitely achieve our target of $5 trillion economy in India, and we'll look forward to it. So there are some questions. The first question is from Mr. N. Sivakumar. Can you elaborate on this absence of culture to innovate? What are the steps to be taken to improve the culture?
uh, higher you are, more change dynamics is relevant to you. It has to start from leadership. Innovation means, uh, first of all, the hierarchy in the organization has to become like, everybody is, working at the same level, sort of. Working, collaborative kind of a working culture, sharing kind of a working culture, where there is no much of a fear. You can walk any floor, talk with any person. That kind of a easiness is very, very important if you want to inculcate innovation culture in your company. So this is very easy said than done. And I have seen, even throughout my career, that so much of an ego satisfying thing which happens related to the new product, new processes and all, which is very, not conducive to the innovation kind of a culture. So so uh, so uh, so easiness, collaborative way of working, sharing, uh, not much of a scope for fear and ego kind of a thing. People should appreciate that creativity can come from any level across the organization, even from the downmost level in the organization. So that is the, that will create a bit of an atmosphere for innovation kind of a thing to start. See, I have seen many organizations who are not comfortable even with the incremental changes. So that easiness has to happen first, and then there is a whole lot of a, talent, and capability aspect of in the organization. Then how you when the whole organization goes into innovative mode, then what is the structure of it, what is the process of it, how things will be analyzed, how things will be filtered, decisions will be made for those innovations to get root, and who will be sponsoring them, who will be leading them, how the budget and resources of the organizations will get dovetailed with the decision making process. So all these things are the matter of detail which comes step by step. If there is a drive, if there is an intent, if there is a clarity, all these things get addressed in due course of time. And there are experts like me and many others who can help building this innovation culture in your company.
Yeah, basically you recommend the collaborative approach between the different departments.
No, not exactly. Collaborative means from everywhere, anywhere. If an idea is good, it gets addressed.
Right.
It gets full decision making focus. That kind of a thing. Yeah, including CEO, the owners, the founders, everyone in the organization.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next question is from Mr. Dinesh Kumar. What kind of working model to adopt? Because everyone is talking about the only the conceptual models, but what kind of working model to adopt in this direction?
Working model. Working model for innovation is that there are only two ways. One is, do you have a basket of pain areas, or do you have a basket of values which you want to create for your customers, or inside your organization? So pick up that basket, whichever you think is of high priority, and then pick up odd set of people. More diverse the team, better it is. Pick up the youngest person in your organization, oldest person, male, female, all sort of diversity people you have in the organization, put them in the team. And then people start using their creative process to come out with innovative solutions. So this is the model.
Yeah, that's very right. I completely agree with you. The diversity will make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Different ideas will come together.
Right.
Right. The next question is from Mr. Ajay Karnam. In fact, I was also about to ask that question. How
Yeah.
do we integrate the Karma twin and digital twin? Uh,
See, what happens is karma and digital. See, what happens is still, COVID is giving us a lesson, in fact, whereas if you see I'll give an example to elaborate about it. Once I was heading a steel mill, corporate level turnaround, and then I was discussing with one of the plant head, and I said, you are running your steel mill with 0.6% efficiency. This guy got very upset, saying that what you are saying, 99.4%, we are doing non-value add. And I proved him with the figures that if your input to output lead time is a month and your value creation process happens in minutes, then 0.6% does not have any zero error in that. So this COVID situation is also a reflection that a whole lot of people thought that manufacturing means thousands of people have to come in, and in the offices also, and all physical presence is required. So whole lot of people, I mean, I'm not discrediting their hard work and capabilities and all those things, but I'm talking about the behavioral changes, the karma change, which I'm talking about. So many times senior level people from morning to late evening, they were super busy and they were doing somebody else's work rather than doing their work. And I have also seen in my career that high percent of my time goes in correcting some other person's work which was not done to the perfection, or there was issue, this thing. So I was tweaking whole day. So then you have a karma tweaked, right? So now this, what COVID is doing, it is, somebody said that, if you have a 10,000 hours of practice, then you become an expert in your field. So same thing is being forced upon now, that with the limited resources, you are expected to run at a very high pace, and this will become your habit because you are not allowed to go near to the machine. So that's why what happens when you take care of your capabilities and you are creating more and more value out of that capability, then you move out from tweaking, physically every time. And when you start withdrawing yourself physically, slowly, then you will find there is a vacuum, because there was some decision being made, there was some, instructions being followed, there was some gap into value added activities. And there comes the role of digital twins, which can fill the gap, and not necessarily that your karma is waiting to fill in that gap. So, for example, AI comes, then AI makes a lot of decisions which are not required to be, managed by a managing director or a function head level person. So, with this, what happens if you keep abreast of digital transformation changes happening, at the same time you take care of your karma in terms of the kind of a value you create, the kind of a tweaking, aspect of it, you are withdrawing yourself and you are developing your capability, then these twins actually start merging together. It is a bit of a spiritual kind of an experience, if I have to say so.
okay, okay.
So
It's interesting.
so if you want to really merge these two digital twins and karma twins, you have to move towards a bit of a quantum space or a spiritual space, because that space will only give you flexibility to merge these two big twins.
Correct.
Hope I'm not confused.
Yes, that's really interesting. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot, Dr. Pant. It was really a pleasure having you in the session, and I'm sure the insights provided by you are good to value to our attendees, and they will take something from this session so that they can have some kind of implementation or adaptation of new digitalization technologies in their operations. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your presence.
It's pleasure interacting with all of you, and whoever wants to take this discussion forward can always follow it up through various social media and connect. And I will be happy to get connected, and maybe I'll help a bit in getting these two karma together.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pan. Thank you, Shekhar sir. And now we'll move to the next session. I would like to invite Mr. Nitin Malwarkar, who's the Country Technical Manager, Mainstream Engineering at Siemens Industry Software, and Mr. Shekhar Chitkar, the editor at Publish Industry India, to host the interactive presentation session. This would again be followed by audience questions. So over to you, Mr. Chitkar and Malwarkar.
Thank you, Anvita.
Shekhar sir, you're on mute. You need to unmute. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sorry for that. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. So it's an absolute pleasure to participate in today's virtual session on such an interesting topic. Dr. Pant has already set the context to it, and we will be taking this ahead in our coming discussions. So today's topic of this addressing all the aspects of product development process with digitalization technologies with Mr. Nitin Malwadkar from Siemens. So I would be happy to just ask few questions to him so that he can just provide some little more understanding on the topic as well as all the aspects associated with it. So Nitin, are you ready? Can I start the questions?
Sure, Shekhar, I'm ready.
Yeah, the first question I would like to ask you is what would be the role of emerging technologies such as digitalization, especially for SMBs, and why is there a pressing need for SMBs to adopt the same in the current context?
Shekhar, what I would like to do is I would like to give a small presentation on the same topics which you just mentioned, right? So let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. So yes, Shekhar, also like you mentioned, why digitalization is important for SMBs, and I think Dr. Pant has already talked about this in the previous session. So in the current times, I'm sure most of those small to medium business organizations will see that they're faced with the issue of increasing complexity, right? Now we can break this complexity in two levels. The first one would be the product level. This is where we have the combination of engineering domains, such as electronics, mechanical, and simulation. I can give you a very simple example. Now let's take a simple example of consumer goods nowadays. You see a new trend where manufacturers are trying to make their products as compact as possible, and to achieve this, they have to place electronics and PCBs in really small places or spaces, right? But then this trend of making products compact, this ends up with new challenges for the manufacturers, right? For example, since we're using electronics, what about the heat dissipation? Will those electronics affect my other components, right? So second, we have a complexity at factory or process level as well. Now these complexities include integrating design, manufacturing, and utilization. And these complexities eventually end up affecting the organization's lead time, cost of inventory, cost of work, and rework as well. So this is where Siemens Digital Industries comes into picture. So we at Siemens, like we mentioned before as well, we at Siemens is all about helping companies transform into a digital enterprise. So to reduce the complexity of the product development, it's clear that there are three business imperatives that every customer must embrace. First one, like Dr. Pant said, right, maximizing digitalization by using the digital twin. Second, by adopting a solution which is modern and can be personalized. And third is an ecosystem that is open and flexible as well. So what exactly is our digital twin solution? We propose that a customers create a digital twin of your product. It is a detailed 3D digital twin or a model of your proposed product. And this is exactly where we would like to introduce our product Solid Edge. The portfolio, Solid Edge is basically a portfolio and affordable and easy to use software Now, it has tools which help address all aspects of product development processes. So basically, Solid Edge enables you to implement the digital twin concept we just now saw, right? And this is the tool that has been successfully enabling digital transformation. This range from startups to small and medium-sized manufacturers to departments of large enterprises as well. And the best part about Solid Edge is that it's a cross-industry solution. That is, it can be used in many manufacturing sectors. So irrespective of whether you happen to be from industrial machinery, agriculture, machinery, construction, consumer goods, medical devices, FMCG, this is one solution which can help address all of your needs. Back to you, Shekhar.
Yeah, next question is, there is a big end user demand for customized products, resulting in demand for more highly customized machinery. So how does Solid Edge help address this challenge?
One second. Yeah, sorry about that. So yes, like you rightly mentioned, customers are looking for customized products, and with the kind of competition available in the market, organizations now cannot afford to take their own time to create these customized products. Now, how quickly you get your product to the market is the key for success for all these organizations. And this puts tremendous pressures on designers and engineers to implement these required customizations quickly, right? So this is where we believe Solid Edge can really help big time. Now we can help customers to configure products with the use of Solid Edge. Now these configurations can be based on multiple ways. It can be based on family of parts or family of assemblies, which are defined in 3D. We can also help organizations to manage variants and product costing with an integrated PLM solution. Now, the best part about Solid Edge is not only does it help engineers and designers to design faster, but in the long run, it can help them design better as well. And to achieve this, this competitiveness and to achieve this mass customization, Solid Edge uses a unique technology which is developed by Siemens, which enables the customers to get their work done faster and with more efficiency as well. So what exactly is this unique technology that we talk about? Well, when we talk about the product design, there are two ways to approach them. The first one is what we call as a history-based modeling. Now, this is something which most of the traditional softwares are based on. Now, they have their own set of advantages. Like, for example, they are highly automated and dimension-driven, and then they come along with their own set of disadvantages as well. For example, in case there's a design change, then it becomes very difficult and time-consuming to implement. Now, the other approach to design is called direct modeling, which again has its own set of advantages. For example, designers can make changes to a designs rapidly, and a designer can have direct interaction with the model itself, rather than having to depend upon the features and the sketches. But again, this approach has its own set of disadvantages as well. For example, there's very little design automation that you can do with it. So what Siemens has done is it has taken the advantages of both the direct modeling and the history-based modeling to come up with a new technology, which we call it as the synchronous technology. So basically, this gives you the best of both design approaches, that is history-based as well as direct modeling, along with some added benefits like 3D phase relationships and a 3D dimension, 3D driving dimensions as well. So let's have a look at a synchronous technology in action. Now, what you see on the left-hand side is the original design of the jack which was created. But as I mentioned before, the customers are looking for customized versions, right? So on the right-hand side, you can see the customized version, what the customer is looking for. So let's look at it from a designer's perspective. How much time do you think this creating this new version will take? Half a day, 1 day, probably, right? So well, let's have a look at this video wherein the designer who is already experienced with working on synchronous technology, how much time does it take to do this? Now, if you have a look at this, I can tell you that this particular new version, right, for creating this new version from the original model, it just takes you 2 minutes. It sounds very difficult to believe, right? 2 minutes. So over here, we can have a look at how it's done in this video. Now, as I mentioned before, we are not working with features when we talk about Solid Edge and Syncrest technologies. We are not dependent upon sketches or features, which is something which most of the CAD softwares depend on. What we are doing is we are working directly on the model itself. And that's the kind of flexibility that allows us to make the rapid changes, right? And that's not to say it's happening at the sake of assembly relationships or any constraints which are getting changed. No, not at all. You can see that when you're working with Syncrest technology, all the relationships that you have provided, right, be it on assembly level or whatever, all of them are, or rather they remain intact. And we believe that this is exactly what is going to benefit the small to medium businesses. When you have the flexibility for the designers to make mass customizations and that to quickly, this is what which would help an organization to get their product to the market faster. Back to you, Shekhar.
Sorry. As product complexity is increasing, we can see a gradual increase in electrical content to meet customer demands for more intelligent, connected products. So how can Solid Edge help SMBs meet this demand?
Perfect. Now, as you mentioned, over the last 4-5 years, I mean, we have come across a lot of new technologies like IoT and smart connected homes, smart offices, and whatnot, right? And then the underlying component behind all these technologies are electromechanical products, which a lot of new manufacturers we see are getting into. So recently, what we did was we conducted a survey, with these electromechanical product manufacturers. And during this survey, we found that most of these manufacturers face two challenges. First one is that most of these companies have two departments, that is the electrical department and the mechanical department. And both these departments hardly interact with each other during the design process. It is only when the prototype is being built or when the product goes to shop floor do these departments actually start communicating. And this lack of collaboration initially, during the design process leads to a lot of errors on the shop floor. Sometimes these errors are, end up in costly rework, eventually affecting your product's release in the market. Now, other challenge we saw is that in order to check whether the electrical circuits that have been created and whether they are working according to the logic provided by the designers, these companies have to create prototypes. And as you're well aware, prototypes incur cost and it affects your time to market as well. So this is where our electrical solutions help you out. For the electrical designer, we have a design module called Solid Edge Wiring Design. Now, within this module, electrical designers can create their complete electrical circuits from scratch. So it doesn't make a difference whether you're working on a single phase like automotive or three-phase like industrial machinery. You can still create both of these circuits within the same module itself. Another advantage is that the module comes along with its own set of smart libraries. So the designers don't need to spend time trying to search the internet for a particular component like relays or batteries and all those kind of components. But probably the best part about this solution is that designers can check and validate their designs within the software itself. Like I mentioned before, one challenge was that companies had to create prototypes to check whether, the electrical circuits are working in the logical order or not. So with the use of Solid Edge wiring design, you can validate this electrical circuit logic within the solution itself. And not only this, but designers can check for any voltage drops across the circuits and accordingly make the required changes to the design as well. Now, once we are done with the electrical design or the wiring design, then you need to actually manufacture it, right? So this is where, again, my solution Solid Edge harness design helps. Now, Solid Edge harness design provides a graphical layout of the wire harnesses and the creation of form board or nail board diagrams like we call it, right? So basically, this solution also provides the automatic generation of harness manufacturing reports, which includes your bill of materials and cutting list and the generations of connector wires and splice tables as well. Now, Solid Edge, harness design includes intelligent libraries for wire harness components and the symbols which are embedded inside the solution itself. Automatic part selection of terminals, seals, and connectors are also available within the solution. And the advantage of this solution is that it integrates with mechanical or rather the mechanical and with the solid edge wiring design to import wires, connectors, and splices, and which helps in providing the exact length of the wires after the harness has been routed through a mechanical assembly. Now, in case you're wondering, which all standards does this support? Well, we cater to pretty much all the different standards. For example, vehicular system, IEC, and ANSI standards as well. But now, you can actually ask me, we have seen something similar like these solutions in the market. So what makes your product really unique? Valid question. Well, what makes it unique is something we call it as a connected mode. Now, like I mentioned before, one of the challenges that we saw was that there was hardly any collaboration or interaction between the electrical and the mechanical department, right? So when either of these departments makes any changes to their design, the other department is not aware of it at all. And this results in errors down the road. So what connected mode provides is basically it provides a bridge between both these departments. With this bridge turned on, whenever an electrical designer even selects a wire in his electrical circuit, that wire gets highlighted within the mechanical CAD assembly. So both the designers, that is a mechanical and electrical designer, is aware of which wire is getting changed and vice versa. Also, in case of any department making any change to a design, for example, changing the type of a wire from electrical designer's perspective, or even changing the path of routing from a mechanical designer's perspective, these are implemented and updated immediately. So no worries about late manufacturing errors or reworks for any companies who is utilizing this product. So solid edge electrical design, along with its unique connected mode, is something which we feel will really help the SMBs address the customer demand for the smart electrical products. Back to you, Shekhar.
Let's talk about a little more about the application. Simulation analysis is a costly application to acquire. So do you have any analysis solution available with Solid Edge? And if yes, how costly would this analysis solution be?
Okay. So when you talk about simulation analysis, you're talking about FEA analysis or yeah, you will talk about FEA analysis, or you talk about CFD analysis, right? So most organizations we've seen think that it's a pretty expensive solution to invest in. Now, other assumptions that we have come across is that most of the organizations think that these solutions are very difficult to use. They would need to hire someone with a master's degree or even a PhD to work on these type of solutions, right? That's why most of the SMBs thinks it's it would be better to source this analysis process. Now, when you outsource your designs, then you're totally dependent upon the consultant's time schedule for the delivery of the result. And the results might end up taking days, sometimes even months. And this plays a big role in their product's launch in the market. Another thing we have noticed that, with some organizations is that actually they end up using two solutions, a CAD solution for CAE, a CAD solution for design, and a CAE or a CFD solution to perform the analysis. So a typical process here would be that, analysts would import a CAD design within the CAE software, which is typically by using STEP or IGS or neutral formats. Then he spends a lot of time in cleaning up the design, and then he sets up the environment. That is, he sets up, where the forces are going to be acting, where the fixtures are going to be acting, etc. And then he runs the analysis. Now, in case the results match your expectations, then nothing like it. But mostly, I'm sure that it doesn't happen the first time itself, right? So he lets the designer know what changes needs to be done in the design, and then the designer goes and makes his changes. And once these designs are or these changes are implemented, the analyst has to follow the process again, to set up the environment and all of these things. And this ends up in taking a lot of time. Sometimes it ends up taking weeks altogether, right? So what we provide is a solid edge simulation, a solution which is embedded within the CAD software itself. So no longer do you need to use two separate solutions for your CAD and CAE. It works in the same window. Any changes required, these can be implemented within the same window. and doesn't require the environment to be set up again. This helps in saving a lot of time from a analysis perspective. The best part of solid simulation is that solution is extremely easy to use. You don't need somebody with a master's degree or anything to work. A master's degree or PhD to work on these solutions. Your designers who have basic knowledge of mechanical engineering will be able to work on this easily. Now we understand that designers are the ones who have designed the product, right? So they are aware of where all the forces will be acting and where all the constraints have to be given. So what we have done is we have made our simulation module so easy that designers can themselves validate their designs. So that's why we call it more of a validation tool as against an analysis tool, right? So now the question is, what kind of analysis can we perform with solid simulation? Well, in case if you're looking for linear static, buckling, or modal, or vibration analysis, steady or transient heat transfer, or even motion analysis, we can perform all of this within solid edge simulation. Then the question is, what about the capabilities? Well, with solid edge simulation, we provide a flexibility to the users. So what I mean by that is, in case the users want the software to generate the required meshing, then we have the option of automatic mesh. Or in case they want to have control over the mesh, right, then they can set it up themselves. One of the best things about solid edge simulation is that it is powered by NX Nastran solver, which is a renowned and a universally accepted solver, which has been created by NASA itself. So whatever simulation that you go for, you can be rest assured that the results that you get the results that you're going to get are going to be pretty accurate. And again, with simulation, we still have the powerful synchronous technology that we talked about, which is embedded inside CAD to implement any changes which might be required while performing the analysis. So now this takes care of the FEA aspect. But then what about the CFD, or computational fluid dynamics? Well, for this type of analysis, we have a solution called FlowEFD. We call FlowEFD basically a general purpose or CFD solution. But why do we call it a general purpose solution, CFD solution? Because the same CFD solution can be used across different domains. So irrespective of whether you're from military or aerospace or automotive, the same solution can be used. In terms of electronics, let's say you want to find out the heat dissipation, or if you want to find out the placement of vents and the capacity of the fans which are required for dissipating the heat, this is the ideal solution to help you do that kind of analysis. Now, again, in the case of household products like kitchen chimneys, for example, we can use a solution to find the capacity of the fan that is required, along with optimizing the design of the chimney itself. So, as far as the capabilities are concerned, again, these are some of the capabilities of the solution that we can see on the screen. Now, we provide complete support for electronics cooling, which includes joule heating, your aerodynamics, condensation, especially for automotive lighting, or even when working with rotating equipments like compressors. In terms of compressors, you need to find out whether they have any vortex formations or something, which normally ends up increasing the noise of the compressors. All this kind of analysis can be done within this software. Now, as I mentioned before, in case you're working on HVAC, you want to find out the optimum position to place the required vents, right? Then FlowEFD can help you out over here as well. Now, with Solid Edge and FlowEFD, we provide our customers who are working on LEDs with advanced LED modules as well. And the same applies for our customers who are working for aeronautics as well. So basically, Solid Edge, as I mentioned, has a complete plethora of analysis solutions to cater to each and every type of analysis that a SMB might actually require. Back to you, Shekhar.
Let's get into manufacturing now, because that's also a very important topic currently. So can you tell us something about the manufacturing capabilities of Solid Edge?
Absolutely. Now, so let me share my screen. So as I'm sure, all of us are aware, Siemens has a rich history in manufacturing, right? In fact, we are one of the biggest manufacturing units. Now, what we are able to do is we are able to take the advantage of the same expertise, and we are able to leverage that expertise within our CAM solutions. Now, we understand that machine shops would use parts for many different applications, and that too across different industries. The ones mentioned over here are some of the key manufacturing domains, and each of them have a different requirement. For example, mold and die machining. Now, this involves machining of hard materials, right, to machine the components of tooling assemblies. Production machining typically involves production of larger volume of prismatic parts, complex parts made of lightweight materials, such as those in, let's say, aerospace and medical industries. They often require 5-axis machining to cut the complex designs, right? So let's have a look at some of the customized capabilities needed to effectively handle these kind of, CAM solutions. Now, NX-CAM, like the solid edge CAM, basically provides a wide range of functionality, from 2-axis milling and high-speed machining to multi-function machines and 5-axis milling. So it doesn't. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't make a difference whether you're working on 2-axis, 3-axis, multi-axis, high-speed machining, or even turning. We have you completely covered with a range of CAM solutions. Now, this flexibility enables NC programmers to effectively program any job with different requirements using just one system. So let us have a look at one of the key capabilities of Solid Edge CAM Pro. As I mentioned, before, one of the important aspects of a CAM solution is a tight integration with our CAD solutions, right? So what that effectively means is that our CAM remains associative to any changes that you make to the CAD model, right? So with Solid Edge CAM Pro, we provide a best-in-class visualization and NC simulation as well. And the best part, the same product and the same user interface can be used for all the different types of machine operations. So basically what this does is this effectively reduces the learning curve for any engineer who is moving from 3-axis to 5-axis machining as well. Another point to note is that most of the times the CAM operations start only once a design has been completely finalized, right? But since our CAM is associative, right, with the CAD modeling, in effect, we can start the NC programming process parallelly with the design process, thereby decreasing the product's time to market altogether. Now, another new solution that we have recently come up with is, and especially for our sheet metal manufacturers, is Solid Edge 2D nesting. Now, as we are all aware, as an organization, we want to reduce the cost of manufacturing our products as much as possible, right? And one way of achieving this is by reducing the scrap that normally gets generated on the shop floor, especially while working on sheet metal parts. So how do we reduce this cost? Well, we use a nesting solution. Well, so Solid Edge nesting is a solution which helps you in generating the optimized layouts. Now, these might be from 2-dimension cutting of a fabrication material. It not only works on sheet metal, but it can actually also help you in case if you're working on woods, or if you're working on plastic or even fabrics, then this solution is an ideal solution for you. The beauty of Solid Edge, Solid Edge nesting is that not only can we import Solid Edge files directly, but we can work with our existing DWG or your existing DXF files that you have already created. Solid Edge nesting uses an extremely efficient algorithm, which not only can nest multiple sheets of same or different sizes. This is again a very important part. We can nest multiple sheets of the same or different sizes, but we can nest inside openings as well. This thereby, it helps in increasing the sheet usage completely. So what effectively happens is we are using the complete sheet and we are reducing the scrap. Now, the results of this nesting can be exported again as a .dwg file for most of the laser cut or the water cut machines, or can even be exported to our CAM solutions, which can help generate the required tool paths. So this is how Solid Edge manufacturing solutions help in terms of manufacturing. Back to you, Shekhar.
Yeah. Now the last question. With the increase in competition and constant time to market pressure, how does Solid Edge help to track the fulfillment of customer requirements and prove compliance with the industry regulations?
Perfect. So I can actually give you a small example of customer requirements. So what exactly are customer requirements? This can be something very basic like a particular color to a business requirement. Like for example, if I press an emergency stop button, then the machine has to stop, right? So these requirements can be in terms of manufacturing as well. For example, the customer might need a certain manufacturing precision, or a customer might need a certain material for his product, right? So all these are nothing but your customer requirements. And for SMBs, right, we normally care a lot about these requirements. Why? Because that's what we as SMBs know, that what the customers will buy. This is how we know that the product that we have is a top quality product. So basically, as an SMB, that is how we know that we have arrived, right? So given this importance, it's not uncommon for customers to have hundreds of requirements, which might be in terms of your hardware requirements, your safety requirements, or software requirements as well. So now we understand what these customer requirements are. But then the question then arises, how do you manage these customer requirements for the products you design and manufacture? Well, most of the manufacturers that we have spoken with say that they use applications like Word, Excel, and emails to manage their requirements. This basically means that the requirements are not linked precisely to the design projects, right? And that the requirements are not easily visible and retrievable by the engineers even. Those engineers who are actually responsible for implementing them in the first place. How many times have we nearly manufactured a product and then find out that one of the key customers' requirements was not met? It happens with most of us, right? And it's not necessary that the designers or the manufacturers are at fault over here. No, maybe that particular requirement wasn't passed out to that particular department. So now, in addition to managing your customer requirements, it is also essential to be able to prove the compliance with the standard regulations. This has a big impact on how you manage and document your design and the manufacturing processes as well. And so this is exactly what our solution, SolidEdge Requirement Management, helps you as small and medium businesses with. So with SolidEdge Requirement Management, users can work directly with the CAD data while simultaneously managing the requirements. They can also link requirements to CAD, individual CAD files and projects. That can help make requirements easily available or visible to all the designers. The best part about SolidEdge Requirement Management is the ability to track fulfillment of requirements, which is extremely important. And another point is it helps you in reporting the status of requirements for project managers. So basically, this takes care of the managing customer requirement. But then what about the data management aspect? Now, as an organization, when you're working on all the different solutions that we have discussed, like for example, CAD, CAE, and then you have electrical design, and then you have CAM or manufacturing. So it's not. So there are multiple solutions, right? And it's not necessary that you'll be working on just one single product. You'll be working on multiple products that your company creates. So when you're working on these many different types of solutions and these many products, so effectively you're dealing with multiple parts, assemblies, drawings, PDFs, Excels, Word documents, and whatnot. So the main question is, how do you manage that data, right? And as I mentioned before, company data is the intellectual property of any company. Once that gets compromised, then that creates a massive problem for the company. So then the question over here is, how do you manage that data securely? Well, this is where our solution team center can actually help you. So we have a solution which is called Team Center Rapid Start. This is one PDM solution you can deploy quickly. In fact, when I say quickly, you can actually deploy this PDM solution in as little as 2 weeks even. So that's why we are calling it as a rapid start solution. So with Team Center Rapid Start, or TCRS, you can get into production with the most essential PDM functionality, that is taking control of product related designs and documents along with your engineering processes. So basically you can have the complete flexibility to fit you have the complete flexibility within the TCRS to fit according to your people and your processes. You can deliver complete product definition and collaborate with anyone who needs access to your product data. The best part is you can do this including your customers, your suppliers, your partners, and manufacturing departments as well. Now, as your business grows, the PDM solution that is TCRS can grow along with you as well. So basically, Team Center Rapid Start can support your whole business from product development to delivery. So, like I've already talked about, TCRS, but how does Team Center help you? Well, Team Center can extend the benefits of PDM to your broader organization. It can help you by automating the design reviews and sign-offs. It can help you in tracking and sharing the product-related data, such as requirements, schedules, and cost. And that can also help you in delivering designs to your customers, upstream suppliers, like I mentioned, as well as your manufacturing departments. So basically, from delivery to from design to delivery, Team Center is one solution which provides visibility to all the users about each and every decision that is being taken, and whether you can also see whether it is in line with the customer's requirement or not. So these are the solutions that we had in terms of your meeting your customer requirements and for your data management. Back to you, Shekhar.
Yeah, perfect, Nitin. So there are some questions which you would like to answer.
Sure.
First question is from Suresh Jambulkar. Can we have a scrap management in solid edge nest sheet metal?
I would like to understand a little bit more about scrap management. See, the whole purpose of solid edge sheet metal nesting is to find out how much percentage of your sheet is being utilized. So based on that, you can find out how much scrap is going to be generated, right? So we don't really need to have a scrap management system, but yes, if you want, we can incorporate that inside Team Center.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. Ajay Kalam. Can you convert JPG pictures into drawings and models using solid edge or Siemens design packages?
Yes. Let's say, for example, there's a design, right? Or there's a particular, let's say there's a design of a knife, all right? So there's a JPEG image of a knife. So now what I can do is I can import this image inside Solid Edge, all right? And making use of my different options which are available inside Solid Edge, like your sketch mode, your surfacing, all of this, I can recreate the complete knife as to how it actually looks. So from a 2D, I can actually convert it as a 3D as well with the use of Solid Edge.
Okay. Next question is from Dr. Indrajit Bhattacharya. Could you explain on licensing pricing policy for a digital twin software, and how does the cost come down on scale up on cloud hosting?
The licensing thing is something which licensing I can help you out, but the pricing is something which I really can't comment on right now. If you want to know more about the pricing aspect, then you can reach out to me anytime afterwards. But as far as the licensing is concerned, yeah, we do have two different types of options inside Solid Edge. The first one is a node lock license as well as a floating license. So these are two different types of licenses that we have. And now, since everybody is talking about cloud, we have incorporated something new. We have come up with a new kind of a licensing solution as well, which is cloud enablement. Cloud-based licenses as well. So I hope that addresses your question.
Okay. I think there are no more questions on this. Okay. We can move on to the next session. Over to you, Anvita.
There's just one more question in the chat session, Shekhar sir, if you could take that.
Okay, there is one question in the chat.
Yeah.
It's from Nilesh Nevrikar.
Right.
Is there a model in the Siemens product by which we can automate the mold costing process?
Yeah, we do have, when you talk about molding, then we do have one of the best solutions for molding, that is NX. And this integrated along with Team Center, I think this should be able to help, automate your mold costing process. But in case, if you want to know more in detail about this, please do get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to connect you to the right person.
Okay. I guess that's about it. Thank you so much, Mr. Malwarkar. Thank you, session. Now, moving to the final session for the day, it is a panel discussion with customer success stories moderated by Mr. Shekhar Jitkar, who is the Chief Editor at Publish Industry India, and with panelists, Mr. Rajinder Singh, the Deputy GM Engineering at Hexacom Power Solutions, Mr. Pramod Kalyani, the CEO of Carlson Engineering, and Mr. Nitin Malwarkar. So I would request all the panelists to switch on their cameras and the audios. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Chitkar.
Yes. Good evening, everyone again. So as you all are aware that it's a tough time for everyone in the world due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we have to do our best to survive this phase and look for the growth opportunities again. And leveraging on advanced technologies such as digitalization is the need of the day now. But it is also important to understand the intricacies of the advanced technologies and how to optimize their use so as to ensure ROI. So especially in the product development process. So in this context, I'm happy to moderate today's panel discussion with our esteemed speakers, Mr. Rajinder Singh, Mr. Pramod Kalyani, and of course, Mr. Nitin Malwadkar. The objective of the session is mainly to learn from the experiences of the speakers who would be sharing with us their success stories of Solid Edge. So I will first start with Mr. Rajinder Singh. In fact,
Hi, Shekhar. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, please tell. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, with Mr. Rajendra Singh, I would like to mention here, we both are from the same college, WIT, that's Walchand Institute of
Wow.
Technology. I just, before Professor Mitra Gotri.
Yeah, I saw him in the list of the attendees.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. He's the regular attendee of our
It's
session, and he
really
just mentioned
to
that.
have Mr. Gotri in this session. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's the correct, and I'm very happy for that. Okay, moving on. I would like to know first if you can brief us about your business portfolio and what kind of design requirements you had earlier. So can you highlight the parameters to be
Sure,
considered while
definitely.
designing?
Yeah. Just now, whatever session we had, you have a discussion with Nitin, and it is more on like making the compact products, and also Exicom company. We are into this business only, and in fact, I'll tell you like Exicom, we are providing the critical infrastructure for the telecom power solutions. So just to keep the mobile networks on for 24/7 application. So we are into manufacturing of DC power system for all the telecom operators like Reliance Jio, Bharti Infratel, BSNL and all. These are the major customers. And recently, Exicom has also started entering into mobility section also, where we have started manufacturing lithium-ion batteries as well as providing the charger racks for this mobility section. Yeah.
Okay. So can you just mention or highlight what kind of design requirements normally you have, and if you can just tell us about the parameters to be considered while designing?
Sure. The basic requirement is to design a sheet metal enclosures for the application to in-house all these electrical items like contactors, relays, and all these things. So it's a more of an electrical product, but every electrical product is having a mechanical background. So we need to ensure that whatever product we design in sheet metal has to take care, considering that manufacturing aspects, service aspects, quality, cost, all these things, and aesthetics also. So with this, by using Solid Edge, we are able to take care of all these aspects in designing these products.
Okay. And would you like to elaborate on the engineering and design challenges you might have faced while meeting the customer specification?
Definitely challenges are many because the customer himself, like every time he gives us a new challenge, requirements keep on changing. The customization part which we were discussing earlier in this session, so that is also applicable to us. I'll tell you, like every week we get a new requirement from the same customer, and we need to do the lot of customization. So here I'll say that the Solid Edge definitely helps us in providing the customization tools. And apart from this, like the challenges what we face is the accuracy, because customer is expecting a very short time for the development. Everywhere, like the market is running very quickly, very fast. So customer expect that we design and deliver the product at a very fast rate. So we cannot go with something, a conventional technology. Even I'll say like with the introduction of synchronous technology, uh, we found that we are able to deliver more productive output as compared to ordered. So here I'll say that the challenge of delivering the product at a very quick rate is being addressed by using the synchronous technology. And definitely there are other challenges like to provide an accurate, error-free, first-time right design, first-time right approach, I'll say. And there's also a challenge of maintaining the huge database, because once we are into the customization business, there's a lot of data which is being generated at back end, and we don't know what will happen. Like after 2 years, a customer may say that, okay, I want this particular product again. So we need a proper database tool also. I think here this PLM will come into picture, and it will help us in addressing this issue also. And the main pain area, I'll say, which every customer expects, is the immediate release of the product design, or the I'll say the immediate development of the prototype. This is the main area, pain area for us. And definitely Solid Edge with synchronous technology is able to take care of this. And we are still like, it's a very big, it's a big thing, I'll say. And we are yet to explore the full capabilities of Solid Edge. Because every time we learn something, Solid Edge comes with something new, which is much more higher than the previous version. Yeah.
Right, right. So would you like to share that initial experience of your team using Solid Edge? Can you elaborate on that? In what way it addressed your requirements and challenges? If you have any
Sure.
things right
First of all,
present.
I'll tell you, like, I myself is having experience for almost 20 years in Solid Edge.
Oh,
So, yeah. And in my previous organizations also, we were thoroughly using this Solid Edge. And in this Exicom, almost like from last 4 to 5 years, we are using this Solid Edge. And earlier to Solid Edge, we were using some different software. But with the introduction of Solid Edge, because of some limitations in other CAD software, this software, I'll say that it was seamlessly adapted by the user without any complaint. So that is one good thing. And everyone liked this software. And that time we were using ordered technology. But with the introduction of synchronous, we knew that this is the future of the any organization. I'll say whatever product we were designing earlier, let's say for example, it used to take like in a month, we were able to design say 4 products. But today, because of the synchronous technology, we are able to double the requirement. So we are able to produce more number of designs using this latest technology. Yeah.
okay. Thanks. Thanks. I will move to Mr. Kalyani now. So, would you like to brief us on your business portfolio and what kind of design requirements you normally have?
Yes, good afternoon. I think our business portfolio into engineering services mainly revolve around product design, and we are focusing mainly on the industrial design, which is like valves, actuators, and pumps. So this is our main portfolio. Within that, we also do automation, some kind of automation to just automate some of the routine tasks in engineering. So this is mainly 2 areas which we work with our customers.
Okay. So, what kind of design requirements normally you have, and what are the parameters to be considered while designing?
Yeah, typically case requirements are kind of very straightforward, but mainly they are derived from the field parameters: pressure, temperature, material compatibility. So those kind of stuff. And there will be, again, in our case, we have to deal with the compliances, whether it's ATEX or whether it is a PED, ASME. So those code compliance we have to do as per our design. So this is typically our requirement.
Okay. So, further going on, would you like to elaborate on the engineering and design challenges you faced while meeting the customer specifications? Like Mr. Rajendra Singh mentioned, were there any pain points which you feel that needed to be addressed?
Yes, obviously, it comes with some challenges. As we said, like sometime though I said pressure, temperature, environmental conditions, but those are extreme in our case because some of our products, customers' product goes into like oil and gas exploration as well as LNG application where the pressure could be around 600 bar, temperature can be minus 192 degrees Celsius, to it can go to plus 600 degrees Celsius in some other application. So this is kind of a wide temperature and pressure range we are dealing with. And that is kind of a biggest challenge because designing a product for the ambient condition and then designing the same product for the two extreme conditions is a whole lot of challenges which designer has to mitigate. So I think this is, I would say, the biggest challenge we
Okay.
had.
Okay. So how was the initial experience of your team or you yourself using Solid Edge? In what way it addressed your requirements and challenges?
Yes, journey with Solid Edge goes back to like started in 2005, I believe, and that time it was like V17, the version which I used when I was designing. And previously we were using some 2D software. So obviously, when we entered into design and we were kind of fresh out of college and we had the subject of CAD CAM and all those things, and we are very eager to explore those. And Solid Edge was the like first product which gave us this opportunity. We could able to convince management, and entire design we did with Solid Edge. The good thing with Solid Edge initially, what it helped is to me also personally, is ease of onboarding. Like it's very easy for designer to just learn and start using it rather than the complexity of learning the tool itself. Because I think for a designer, he should focus more on the design and not on the tool to learn and adopt, right? So the friction is very less while adopting the Solid Edge. That's what even my colleagues also feel the same way.
Okay. So how did you develop your team to work on Solid Edge in terms of skillings, reskillings, and the knowledge about the application, etc.?
Yeah, so typically what we do is we create some kind of a SOP. If we are developing some product, we create how those products have been designed in the Solid Edge environment so that the next engineer can just come up to speed with following that SOP. At the same time, as you said that, we don't really utilize any software particularly to its limit, right? And one of the biggest challenge for any designer would be how to utilize its to fullest potential. And for that, we kind of listed out all the features of Solid Edge, and then we see how many features we are able to use, what we could have used, so something like that. So based on that, like we see how much usage we are doing. So we are internally trying to monitor what is the utilization of the current Solid Edge what we have. And then every month or so, we take some time to just discuss among ourselves and find out which are the new commands are there and available, but we do not use it, or is there any potential to use it? So I think the biggest challenge is, as Rajendra sir said, like there is so much to offer. Now the challenge lies with the designer and the company also to how to utilize it to the fullest potential.
Correct. So Rajendra, you're there? Yeah, Rajendra, I would like to ask you the same questions. How did you develop your team to work on the Solid Edge in terms of skilling, reskilling, the knowledge of the application, etc.?
Okay. As I said earlier, when we started the order technology, the moment this synchronous technology was introduced, so it was a little bit a challenge, difficult thing for us to adapt these changes. And because it was something new, so we all have to like really understand, and including me also, because it was totally new thing for me. So me and my team was have to sit and find out what best, how to do the same product using the synchronous technology. And in fact, I will tell you we got the best of the support from Siemens, from Nitin also, and from the partners, Satpan, where Mr. Puniji and Mr. Saksham, they have both helped on, like anytime we used to call them, they used to respond and they used to solve a problem. Whenever we were stuck up, they used to help us out. So it was like with the complete coordination of the team, we were able to uh, uh, learn this synchronous and find out the way out. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was with the proper team coordination. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So Nitin, would you like to add your views on what kind of training, skilling, reskilling, or kind of knowledge of the specific application is required while working on the solid edge? Hello, Nitin?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So, like I was saying, there's a small misconception that most of the customers have that let's say if I'm working in 2D, then going to 3D is going to be very difficult for my designers. Or even if some customers are already used to working on a different solution, then shifting to a different solution like Solid Edge is going to be very, very difficult. Well, that's for them. I would just like to tell them that Solid Edge is a very, very user-friendly solution, right? It is probably one of the first softwares which was based on the Windows platform. So I'm sure most of your designers are already aware of how to use Windows. So if they're aware of using Windows, then they should be able to work on Solid Edge and take care. I mean, work on the different portfolio solutions that we just now mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to ask Mr. Pramod Kalyani. So do you think the SME businesses should leverage on the digitalization technologies and tools like Solid Edge to improve on their efficiency and profitability in the current pandemic crisis? So what would be your recommendation?
Yeah, I think very obvious answer, yes. And the thing is, with current situation where the virtual working is kind of, we are going to the new way of working maybe. So typically for the small businesses, there are different challenges compared to the large businesses. Small businesses, I think there is a lot of iteration of the people, and you every time you have to train your people to the tools what you are using in your company. Again, one of the biggest challenges as your team is not going to be a constant, and then you have to be prepare yourself how you create a pipeline where knowledge pipeline, I would say, where you can retain all your knowledge digitally, so that new engineers, it will be easy for them to go through it and then again become productive. So I believe in these two aspects. And third one is many companies, if you see the kind of engineering activity going on, there can be two sections. One is the repetitive work within engineering, and then could be one is innovative works. But the challenge is most of my experience goes is a lot of people spend time into the repetitive works. So there has to be a special focus so that the repetitive task should be done by machine, since with the that is possible now, so that we save enough energy and time to do something new. And that's how this tools like Solid Edge gives us ability. And one of the solution what we do for our customer is doing those repetitive tasks through the programming, the APIs which Solid Edge offers, so that using backend in the Solid Edge we can automatically create the drawings. And recently, particularly from this like the Corona crisis, I have been seeing a shift that even though there are budget cuts into other expenses or other investments, but I would see there is a specific budgeting is made towards digitalization and doing the automation. So this is, I think, going to be there, and people have understood the importance of having our all knowledge base digitalized and secure and automated. So if a company has these three things, obviously they are much more, what to say, in a better position to tackle any kind of uncertainty which we experienced in last 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, Rajendra, would you like to add your comments on that? That do you think the SME businesses should leverage on digitalization technologies and tools like Solid Edge to improve on their efficiency and profitability?
Definitely the answer is yes. Why? Because today's market is a very competitive market. We cannot survive with the conventional tools and technologies. So in order to remain ahead in the market, we definitely need to go ahead with the latest technology, latest tools and technology, softwares and all, and which I believe Siemens has all this kind of a products. And the very best thing about the Siemens portfolio is like they have a product right from the zero-based costing, that's a 2D drafting, which is free software, to the high-end software like NX and all, to a, I'll say, enterprise level like PLM and all. So it covers all the range of this software, and all small and medium scale businesses, entrepreneurs, they should definitely explore this possibility if they want to I'll say not only survive but to beat the market. So it's recommended that they should go with this digital technology using Siemens software. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Nitin, would you like to add anything on that? Mr. Pramod mentioned about the budget cuts in the current situation. So how do you really leverage on the digitalization technologies, considering the budget cuts and ROI in mind?
Well, you know what? I'll just take both what Mr. Kalyani and Mr. Rajendra said. From an organization perspective, you should be thinking, let me deploy a tool which can help you do normally what took me 3 months to just 3 days. So again, as an organization, even if those one or two things which I'm able to control by deploying a digital tool, and if I'm able to save my time, for example, from 2 months or even 15 days, I'm able to save. That means I will be able to go to the market faster, right? So maybe I can use those 15 days for to innovate or to make the product much more better. And this is exactly what Solid Edge can actually help you as SMBs with.
Shekhar, I will like to add one more point over here.
Yes.
See, whenever as a customer we face some challenges or some ideas like the software which should have this kind of a feature, we definitely coordinate with our partners, and ultimately the requirement goes to the Siemens and they definitely consider this requirement. And if it's a value-added feature, definitely they ensure that it is being implemented in the upcoming project. So we see that we are directly connected with the Siemens in terms of giving the proper feedback and getting it implemented also. So this is one of a very good feature by the Siemens.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier Nitin mentioned about the customization. Rajendra, do you think there has been the increased focus on customization with respect to with maybe your experience or with your customers? If you can share with.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, all our products, they are customized product. It is like one set of product being manufactured for few weeks. After next week, we'll say there's a complete product line is changed and there's a new set of product line in the shop floor in the production. And the demand is so huge that it like using this software only, I'll say that we are able to manage customization.
Okay.
Synchronous technology again, and I'll highlight certain things like the design manager tool and the property manager tool. These are very good tools which helps us to ensure that whatever data we are maintaining is accurate and perfect. Yeah. So it doesn't happen that at some place some drawing is there and at other place some other drawing is there. So there's a complete integrity connectivity between all the data in the organization. Yeah.
Correct, correct. It's very nice to hear that there is a huge demand from the market, because last few months we have been missing this word, but it's good to hear that. So, Mr. Pramod, what do you think about the customization? Is the customization really increasing in the market due to the pandemic?
Yes, so I just wanted to make one more comment, but before that, let me answer your question. So actually, as I mentioned earlier, so one of the services, what we do for our customer is the customization only, right? So they have some domain experience to design. There is some SOP of design. So what we essentially try to do is automate that and create like a brain for design, and then it likes as a front end user can just feed the data and it gets its output, even the design, even drawings, design, everything. So this is now we seeing the trend. More and more companies want to adopt this. They don't want to rely on the specific key individual for retaining their knowledge. That is one. Second thing is the speed. Generally, if you go with customized design strategy, obviously to make one drawing, it takes like 10 seconds or 15-second max, right? So which cannot be matched with any manned resource, right? So obviously those are the trend I would see. This will continue to grow. But I think if you see the vision where it will ultimately lead, the way I'm seeing the portfolio of Siemens in the presentation, what we saw, everything is connected, electronics, mechanical, as well as the analysis, reverse engineering, stuff like that. So I think the way it's a continuous design and continuous delivery. So we would be soon approaching towards a situation where everything will bypass, and it is just like if we made design and at the same time we get the product as well. So your entire pipeline to get the product will be connected in future. I'm saying maybe 5 years down the line, I may be, but I'm thinking we would be going towards that, where I just made a design and the product is right out there. So entire prototyping, manufacturing, everything, assembly, everything can be linked throughout the way we do in software. You see CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. So same thing, I think we are now, it's possible in the current scenario of the technologies available, that we would be heading towards a continuous delivery and continuous design and continuous delivery. And then that will, you will see a drastic change in terms of efficiency, time to market. Those will be different altogether expectation industry or the businesses will have from our this new tool chain.
Perfect. So I believe going forward, digitalization is the way where we can really make difference in our organization in terms of improving efficiency and profitability. There will be
I would
yes,
like to add,
yes, please.
definitely, our friend Mr. Pramod is saying that I also agree to the same point, because in the future, definitely we are also looking that as of now, if you say one of the bottleneck from my product design is the 2D drafting. So it takes definitely 50% of time. And in order to cut that time also, I am also looking for a solution where just by designing a 3D model, I get a product there at my shop floor. So, and definitely Solid Edge and other product from Siemens can help us in this. And even the automobile manufacturing companies, they are also into the same line now, where they're avoiding eliminating this 2D drafting part and directly into the manufacturing part. So we also have a similar kind of a vision where we can.
So one thing to add, the way we have been taught in our quality thing is that inspection is a waste, right? So nobody wants to pay for inspection. Same thing, nobody wants to pay for drafting. Actually, drafting is just a mean to convey your design, but obviously if that is cut off, actually nobody wants to pay for that, right?
Yeah,
True.
so
That's
we
true.
need to find a way to get it. I think, but definitely Siemens can work it out and help us in providing this solution. Yeah.
And Nitin, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I mean, we do actually have a solution that we are working on. We call it as a, MBD or model-based definition, which I'm sure, which is something which can address this particular requirement from both Mr. Pramod and Mr. Rajendra. So, Mr. Pramod and Mr. Rajendra, I'll definitely get in touch with you for this.
Sure, we would be excited to discuss this.
Great.
Great, that's great. So what I was saying, going forward, there will be drastic change in the way we design the product, we manufacturing the product, or we market the product, or we fulfill the customer requirements. And I'm sure the digitalization technology will definitely help in making more customization, because as both of you said, there will be huge demand on customization, and of course the mass customization as well. So thanks for your participation and sharing your views, sharing your experiences on the Solid Edge software. So I will just check if there are any questions. So no, currently there are no questions. Maybe if there are some questions, we'll take it offline. So thanks to each one of you for your participation. It was a pleasure having you. So over to you, Anvita.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that really insightful session. I would everyone, all our speakers and panelists who made time out today for this event. And I am sure it was absolutely insightful hearing your thoughts and on industry progression for our audience. With this, we come to an end to the virtual interactive series with Siemens Industry Software. On behalf of Publish Industry, I would like to thank Siemens for their support and cooperation in helping helping make this series a success. And before closing, I would like to announce that our next event, the Virtual Manufacturing Summit, is scheduled for September 16th, and you shall receive a joining link for the same shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nitin, for giving the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajendraji. Thank you, Kalyani ji.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Shekhar.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Amita.
you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.